could have gotten cheesed.
I
don't know, but we're going to focus on at least Chronoboost up to the point the game ended, and we're going to take a look at what's being important in terms of that Chronoboost. Why Chronoboost is being stored. Is it user error? Is it important? Sometimes, like I said, the user error occurs when I'm usually in a battle, and I'm like, yeah, right now you should be chronoboosting probes, and then you wait till the battle subsides, and then the chronoboost occurs. That could have technically gone down another 15 seconds sooner. You'll see Korean players do that a lot. They're really good with their chronoboost. They're good with everything.
They're Korean.
Yeah, they're good with everything. But ideally, you know, foreigner players are going to want to get to that level. Doing a 9 pylon scout, pretty traditional research, going for a Korean style wall off. Again, you will see the 9 pylon Chronoboost. That one's pretty much the same for every matchup.
Koreans really like going 10 Ovi. It's completely unrelated, but there's nothing else going on, so...
I didn't notice. I haven't really paid too much attention to what Zerg do, or the opposing race, so much. If it's not that important, like 9, 10, doesn't matter to me. I'll still kill him. No, by all means. Alright, so you'll see another Chronoboost going down right after the gateway. So far, so standard. These are the Chronoboosts that pretty much everybody has, from like Bronze to Grandmaster. They kind of know that you should be using it at this point in time. Again, it goes back to the point where I said you're not going to get punished for chronoboosting on your Nexus. Also, early game is important to chronoboost your probes because of 2 reasons. 1, there's really nothing else to chronoboost. And 2, that's kind of the time where you need the probes the most, is the early game. You need to constantly macro. Probes, probes, probes. Probes and pylons, probes and pylons. I would say. Very, very important. Okay, so we're going to see my chronoboost getting high, around 50 energy right now at 3 minutes. Basically the timing of my cybernetics core, which is 17 minutes. Just now using 1 chrono. So why didn't I use that chronoboost before the cybernetics core? I had energy.
Same reason as versus Terran. Zerg has some really, really early cheeses that if you're constantly chronoing probes, you're not going to be able to defend.
Yep, that's one reason.
Gotta save some.
Very much. Also, you would actually get supply blocked. Well, not supply blocked. You wouldn't be able to afford the next probe if you were to chronoboost, because the probe would finish too soon, and you wouldn't have enough money. Every time I get the cybernetics core, I basically have 150 minerals that I couldn't afford another probe. That would my Nexus would be doing. I hate this so much. I don't have a word for it actually, but it's when your Nexus chronoboosts nothing. It's like when you can't afford to get another probe and it's just sitting there chronoboosting, and it's waste.
Oh yeah.
And I hate that so much. That's the reason you have to delay your 3rd chrono until after your cyber starts. Now you'll see me chronoboosting a Stalker. Now, why do you think I'm doing that? Actually, I'm thinking about why I did that. I know why I did it now, but what do you think I'm doing? Why do you think I'm chronoboosting a Stalker?
I would guess the same reason as you did versus Terran. Pokes and map control, before they get speed, it'll out-micro
yep,
a fair number of Zerglings.
One good reason. Definitely it's going to be useful for a poke. Some people get the Sentry. I recommend the Stalker because, as you said, without speed, the Stalker is basically the big bully on the playground. He basically rules the entire map until the Zerglings get speed. Then it's kind of like go home and sit down. But the reason I wanted to chrono out this time is because you saw the timing of the Zerglings. I needed to get the Stalkers in time to wall myself off, because I'm actually, this time, I'll remember, I was going for a Dark Templar rush, hence the Twilight Council. Now you'll see my chronoboost getting really high, and there's 2 reasons for this. 1, it's not a very macro-oriented build order, so I don't really care about my probes. Why? Because I'm not taking a fast Nexus, and I've already achieved saturation on my main. If you were to box my probes, I'm already there. I don't need to chronoboost my gateways. I mean, I don't need to chronoboost my warp gate because I would just be sitting there.
Anyways.
It'll be finished anyways, and I won't have Dark Templars in time for that. So I'm kind of sitting at a bind here, where I could chronoboost more units out of the gateway if I wanted to, but there wouldn't really be a point because I'm not trying to be aggressive, and I already have my wall. The whole point of this is to keep Zerg out of my base, and you can see I kind of achieved that. So I'm staying at 100 energy. And that's okay. I'm not a bad player for doing this. I'm going to pause at 651. Some strategies kind of are... This is actually a good random replay to show because it kind of shows you that sometimes, depending on your strategy, you can't just Chrono Boost your Nexus or Chrono Boost your Warp Gate. You need to have some sense. So I'd rather have 100 energy sitting on my Nexus and idle, such that if I wanted to, when the Dark Temple's finished, I could Chrono Boost my gateways, rather than having a meaningless Chrono Boost on my Nexus and my Chrono Boost going down to like 0. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because the Chrono Boost on my Nexus in this scenario would be useless. I don't need any more probes, or even if I did need probes, or it wouldn't be smart to do that considering this build order. So I'm gonna unpause. And you can see that I didn't Chrono Boost any units out of my gateway. There wasn't a rush. I didn't need him immediately. I was fine. I wasn't gonna die to an all-in. So I have him thinking, you know, I will expand from here, but I have him still in the dark. He has no idea what's going on. He has an overlord in the back of my base, as you can see, being denied by my stalker. I left it there on purpose. And the Dark Templars are done. Now watch this. Hopefully, if I'm good, I'll Chrono Boost my gateways. I don't remember if I did or not. But all that energy should be used on the gateways now.
Because Dark Templar warp in.
Right, the Dark Templar warped in. I technically don't have enough gas, so I could kind of see why I didn't. Because if I don't have enough gas and I Chrono Boosted them right away, then I wouldn't be able to rewarp more Dark Templar in. So I won't really focus on the DT so much. But I'm using one Chrono on my gate. Trying to watch out for these Zerglings. Make sure I'm able to micro still and hug my wall, because you can see the Zergling flank. I'm so used to this. So you see how he keeps some units on the ramp and the Zealots are out in the field? I'm so used to this, like, Zergling trickery. It's not even funny. If I wanted to, I could re-chrono my probes at this point in time. That would probably be the best way to transition out of this, because I am taking my Nexus now, and I will start needing probes again. In this case, I am supply blocked. Oh no, I'm not. Never mind. I was for a second, but I apparently had a pylon up. So here I should be Chrono Boosting probes. I've gotten here, I've done some damage, and you'll see me Chrono Boosting my gateways. Oh, I saw some Zerglings at the Zelnaga Tower. So he's making more links.
Oh.
I saw some links go down from the Dark Templar. And I'm like, oh shit, you know, all I have to do is hold this off. He's going for an all-in. But if he wasn't going for an all-in, since I'm getting that Nexus, I will want to resume probe production, and I want to re-chrono my probes. I actually am still Chrono Boosting my probes, because I just held it off easy mode. So I'm like, okay, his all-in's been stopped. We're going back to chronoing probes. Like, the game's over, technically, but I'm pretending like the game's not over, and maybe he won't leave the game, whatever the case is. Because I just took out his natural and his main. In the game itself, he's dead. He has literally no drones. He has 2 drones, I'm sorry. I have 23 probes. He has 2 drones. They want to undercut him. But
yeah.
In this scenario, the extra Chrono Beast was good. Let's pretend I didn't have as big as an army as I did, or my positioning sucked. Say I wasn't on the ramp when the Zerglings tried to do the run-by. Or say I misclicked my force field and I lost everything. The Chrono Boost on my gateways will basically allow me to quickly warp into Zealots or whatever I need to help me defend against that all-in, such that it doesn't wind up being a base trade. So that Chrono Boost essentially was good. And I wound up Chrono Boosting my probes again after all his army's been killed, because I'm okay, threat's been nullified. He's got no more Zerglings, and essentially there's no need to Chrono Boost my gateways. My Dark Temple are already out there. Don't need to send more in. Go back to Chrono Boosting my probes. So in this game, we didn't really see any. We didn't really see a more macro game, which this is fine anyways, because we want to go over certain special circumstances on how to use your energy. But in a macro game, there's always different styles of how to use Chrono Boost, and there's no right way, but there are wrong ways, and everybody has a different style. Upgrades are going to be important, but not as important as Protoss vs. Terran. There's going to be a lot more importance on using your Chrono Boost rather, on producing structures, unit producing structures. Why do you think that is, Jshore?
You're saving money for DTs, so...
Well, not in this game. In an overall Protoss vs. Zerg.
Sorry, I was thinking more about the fact that it's very irritating to see no Chrono Boost being used ever, and I know why, but it seems like there should be something to use it on, but there's nothing to use it on. And it's...
It's true, I know. It's a weird feeling.
It is very counter. I don't know.
It's not like Terran where you get 50 energy, boom. Queens, 25 energy, boom. Like Protoss has to be the complex race. It just has to be. It can't be. You have 25 energy on your Chronoboost. Use it. You'll die. It's like, wait a minute, I was macroing correctly. No, you're dead. It's such a pain. And I think this Chronoboost is definitely the race mechanic that gives players the hardest times. That being said, it's also a really powerful race mechanic because it adjusts the times at which you can hit. For example, the Blink Stalker timing against Zerg, it actually got nerfed because of Chronoboost. Because Chronoboost was so good at making that Blink just hit much faster than it really did that they had to nerf the time of Blink. It wasn't that 120 seconds was too short, it's just that with Chronoboost it really wasn't 120 seconds. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Like, with good Chronoboost, you can adjust the timings that attacks will hit. And therefore, Protoss, depending on how that Chronoboost is spent, can not only have a diverse set of different timing attacks, but they can also have a completely different look in that game. For example, the Zerg's fastest timing that he can get a Mutas out is by 8:30, assuming that he played a standard defensive game, like he didn't just know Zerglings, go Spire, one base. If he's playing standard, the soonest he can get that Spire up and functional is 8 minutes and 30 seconds. With Protoss, that's not necessarily the case. As Zerg can't say, oh, Protoss is going to have Colossus by this time, or Immortals by this time, because of the fact that if he's going for an early pressure, he's going to be using that Chronoboost toward the attack, which is going to delay the ladder. If he's not going for a early attack, he's going to be saving that Chronoboost and going for a faster attack, or on his economy of his probes, which will result in a faster Colossus. And that's what makes Chronoboost really powerful. Alright, I'm going to jump into our last replay for now. And the reason you want to be using your Chronoboost on unit producing structures more so than upgrades in Protoss vs Zerg is because of the fact that Zerg's the race that's going to swarm. They've got tons of units, and Protoss is probably the race with the least amount of units. They've got powerful units, but it's very low in numbers. It's really important to Chronoboost things like Immortals, Robotics, Gateways all the time, because of the fact that you want to keep up in units, attacking units. Actually, I played one just today against a Zerg where I was able to outmatch him in production because of the fact that I needed to keep using my Chronoboost on my unit producing structures. Essentially, I had more Stalkers than he had Roaches because I was going for an early timing attack, and I was able to not only kill some, but keep producing. And I was actually, for once, when Blue Moon, I was able to actually outproduce Zerg's production. Even though he was on 3 base, and I was on 2, I still had enough units. So that's why you would, against a Zerg player, you want to keep up with, otherwise you're going to lose to like a Roach all-in if your force fields aren't good, or you won't be able to take a third. It's all about the army in PvZ.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most Protoss have nightmares about Roach rushes.
Oh, it's devastating. Let's jump into this quick one. Archon vs Nara. Protoss versus
PvP.
Protoss. I'll pause that,
Chronoboost in this matchup is retarded.
Yes. Well said. Why is it retarded?
It is very precise. If in a high-level game, if 4K got nerfs, you can probably get away with it now. But used to be one Chronoboost off would cost you the game if they knew how to execute it correctly.
Well said.
Wait, did you start?
Nope, I'm at 0-0. I'm actually
Alright.
finishing one of these cookies. Very delicious cookies. Alright.
They do sound good.
Chocolate and peanut butter. Okay, I'm gonna ready to pause in 3, 2, 1, go. So like you said, one too many Chronoboosts can result in death. It's simple as that. Just like every other matchup, Protoss vs Terran. If you were too greedy, Terran stims, game's over. 2 racks, bunker rush, 1-1-1, whatever the case is, you kind of need to adjust your Chronoboost according to scouting. That's the complex part. No matter what, if you take away anything from today's episode, Chronoboost is determined by what you scout, unlike every other race.